Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. What was the most painful moment of your life? NSFW. When my late husband died and my preschooler brought home a flyer from school for a daddy-daughter dance, and she was so excited to show me because she thought it meant her daddy could come back to take her to the dance. I had to explain to her that he couldn't do that. Thanks everyone for the support and awards, it means a lot. It was a really dark time, but things have brightened up so much and both of the kids are doing well now. ETA, she now does have someone to go to the daddy-daughter dance with, plus a new sister and brother. This was several years ago, and since then I met and married a wonderful man who not only loved my kids as his own, but he took their last name when he adopted them. We all have a combined name, so they wouldn't feel like they lost a dad, but that they were getting an extra family in addition to the one they already have. This made me clutch my heart. I'm so sorry. As the father of an almost 4-year-old girl, this post almost had me in tears. So sorry for your loss. Physical pain, kidney stone. Though in comparison to holding my father's hand while he breathed his last breath, esophageal cancer, I'd rather have had a few more kidney stones. I've also had kidney stones and held my father's hand while he died from lung cancer. We're birds of a feather, my friend. I'm sorry for your loss. I lost my dad a few years ago to colon cancer. I am glad I was able to hold his hand till the end, but damn, it was rough. Edit, wow, this blew up. Just a reminder to get your colonoscopies done, people. Worth the hassle, it is treatable if caught early. When I was 10, my mom basically ran away from home and started another family. I'll be 40 soon and it still hurts. I haven't seen her or talked to her in almost 20 years. I feel for you, my friend. Some parents have no idea of the weight of their actions. After the fact, I still feel toyed with. Fuck those people. Infected tooth. Couldn't sleep, the pain was so intense. They were going to give me a root canal. However, they couldn't get it numb from the outside. The dentist proceeded to drill my infected throbbing tooth while 2 assistants pinned my shoulders, then injected Novocaine directly into the fucking root. It was the most intense pain followed by the most blissful release of endorphins once the numbness kicked it. I laughed with tears streaming from my eyes for a good 10 minutes once I was numb. Oh, and this happened on my birthday. Gee, that sounds awful. I'm getting root canal treatment soon and I'm really afraid of the anesthesia not working out. The tooth seems infected and it's really painful, and the antibiotics they gave me were taken ages ago. My appointment is next Monday. I had my first root canal last year and it went super smooth. I was nervous about it, but it turned out fine. Expensive though. My brother committed suicide and 6 days later mom was diagnosed with liver cancer. Nothing but love from me, bro, hope all is well. Jesus, man. These things always come in series. I'm so sorry. Not physical pain, but no physical or emotional event has scarred me quite like this one. When I was about 12, I was snooping around my parents' closet. Squatting down to the floor, I notice a little grey bean on the ground. It was opaque and squishy like a gel pill. I noticed it had a few spots on it. I couldn't for the life of me figure out what this was, and I tried for some moments to break it with my fingers to see what was inside. No luck. I was super curious, so I decided I'd bite off the top to squeeze the inside out. I put the top bit in between my canines and bit down. It popped violently, sending a spray of dark red into my mouth. It was a tick. The dots on the side were legs. It was full of something's blood. I gagged, recoiling in absolute horror, and ran to wash my mouth out. I can't describe the pit of fear and regret that formed in my stomach, but I can tell you it's still there. I literally want to vomit every time I think about it. Part of me thinks I'll eventually die of some weird parasite that's been living in my gut for decades. Gee, this made me physically cringe. Hey Siri, how do I erase memories? I used to work in a tick lab. My job was literally to go out and collect ticks from the forest and then extract any bacterial DNA to see what diseases they were carrying. I can't speak definitively, but I can't think of a single tick-borne disease where the incubation period is more than 30-ish days, so if it's been much longer than that I wouldn't worry. Hopefully this brings some peace to you. That sounds terrible though. Edit, since this is getting some traction, please don't use alcohol or fire to get an attached tick off you. It takes a long time for the Lyme bacteria to get from the tick gut to its mouth when it's feeding, but if it's burned or doused it will regurgitate in the bite and transmit the bacteria much faster. Always use manual methods, like tweezers. I've even used 2 credit cards to get a tick off. Make sure the head comes off too. This does make me feel a touch better for the op. That's grim. I drank out a glass I'd left on the side for a week because I was poorly and just grabbed the first liquid I could find, and I had this peripheral vision moment of was something in before the wriggling feeling of a spider's death throes tickled across my tongue. I know it was a spider because I immediately spit it out and saw it die in front of me. Ooh. I have cysts on my ovaries, PCOS, and once when I was in high school, one of them ruptured on the bus ride home. Literally the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. I couldn't sit, but I also couldn't stand properly, and had to kneel in this weird crouching position on the bus until we finally reached my stop. I was in so much pain that I was throwing up when my dad drove me to the hospital, and once I got there I could barely function. I had to walk down a long hallway to the emergency room, sweating, in pain, and barely able to stand. I'm surprised I didn't pass out. One of the worst parts besides the pain, however, was the doctor that was completely convinced I was having a miscarriage, despite the lack of blood, and me insisting over and over again that I was a virgin. He kept shushing me and telling me it's all right, we're completely confidential here when I insisted I had never had sex. It wasn't until he was off shift and an actually competent doctor came in hours later that I finally had an ultrasound done and they informed me a cyst had ruptured, and all that pain was for less than a teaspoon of blood. Kudos to the kind nurse who brought me a blanket fresh out of the dryer though. Edit, I'm not sure why so many people are becoming upset in this thread about my commenting on the dryer, and insisting it was a blanket warmer, so I thought I'd elaborate. The hospital is in an extremely rural area, and was under construction at the time. I'm not sure if that is the reason or not, but when I asked the nurse for a blanket, she kindly put the blanket into a tumbler dryer directly across from me, tumbled it for about 10 minutes until it was warm, and then handed it to me. The dryer was probably the only thing available to them at the time due to renovations and lack of money, and was in the air for that specific purpose. Hope this clears the dryer debate up for everyone in the comments. This happened to me too. I was bleeding a lot, though. I swear I got asked about 15 times if I were pregnant. My 13-year-old self was too embarrassed by the whole situation to really stand up for myself. You're a child. You shouldn't have to fight with a doctor like that. I had this happen to me. I had 2 on one ovary and 1 on the other all burst within seconds of each other. Ended up causing a hemorrhage that needed surgery lol. By far the worst bit was sitting waiting to be seen in the and rocking back and forth on the chair because it was the only thing that kept it remotely bearable whilst also sweating buckets. They gave me a lot of morphine over the next few days. My wife had a cyst. When she spoke to her doctor about the pains she was having, she told her pants were too tight. Turned out to be a very large cyst, which resulted in surgery to remove the ovary and fallopian tube because the size of the cyst damaged both. I'll never forget the surgeon coming out to speak with me and drawing a circle the size of a grapefruit and saying that's how big it was. Had a kidney stone once. You know when doctors show you that pain scale and ask on a scale of 1 to 10 how bad is the pain, he told me now I know what 10 feels like. It was so fucking bad. When I finally got into the and the morphine started to flow, I apparently told the nurse that I loved her. My wife, sitting right next to me, was not impressed. That stuff makes me trip balls. I once told a nurse that her necklace was beautiful. She was like, I'm not wearing a necklace. I was like, it's pretty anyway. I fell over at a Turkish water park, knocking my 2 front teeth clean out of my mouth. For the next 20 minutes they shoved a hose in my face to wash the constant bleeding. The teeth are probably still in the pool today. I got a chip in my tooth after being kicked into a pool railing as a kid. I can't even imagine how painful it must be to lose 2 whole teeth. Had the pleasure of getting 7 teeth kicked out of my head by some clowns playing the knockout game. Waking up with my jaw broken, skull fractured and several broken ribs to the sight of my teeth laying around me on the ground was pretty memorable. Doctors poked my teeth back in and wired my broken jaw shut. Teeth survived and still functional 25 years later. They're much more crooked though. Getting your teeth knocked loose is definitely a unique type of pain. I didn't notice the broken bones until after gathering my teeth up. When I tried to fit them back into my mouth is when I realized my jaw was broken. After that the rib and skull fractures became apparent. wisdom tooth rot, coupled with some kind of nerve pain. Plus for the removal, the doc said I needed antibiotics for 3 to 4 days to remove the infection before he could do the surgery. My experience with pain isn't a lot. But I've had dislocated shoulders, elbows, had a broken ankle, 3 to 4 times terrible gastro pain. And I dealt with them fine enough. No biggie. But persistent tooth nerve pain was, holy shit, like nothing I've ever experienced ever. As a 30-year-old dude, all I could do was just lie face down on my pillow and cry. Borrowing your post to inform you and others. If you have tooth pain, throw your Origel in the trash, that shit doesn't work. Look in pharmacy stores or large grocery stores for a product called Carca. It's usually sold in a bottle with a small stick for application attached to the lid, but dipping a Q-tip in and applying with that is just as easy. Its active ingredient is 20% benzocaine, which is the same kind and strength painkiller / numbing agent dentists put on your gums before they give you injections. It's a damned lifesaver, just don't get it on your lips or tongue, it will make everything numb. I routinely get bad canker sores and Carca is sometimes the only thing that can provide a few minutes of sweet relief. Carca is the shit. Dental pain is worst pain. Why the fuck have we evolved to feel so much dental pain? Let's say you break your arm and naturally it hurts when you try to move it. That's your body telling you to not move your arm. What are you going to do about tooth pain? Pull the tooth out yourself.